Mr. Kiley.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dellinger. As you know all too well, California has imposed a number of nonsensical policies and regulations on trucking that have wreaked havoc on the industry and on commerce. Some of those are already being pulled back now with the change of federal administrations. But could you just itemize a few of those that are still standing that perhaps could be pulled back by rescinding waivers?
I think it's important that the administration looks at the greenhouse gas 3, reopen that and look at those items. And I mentioned earlier today that basically CARB has been mandating things, and there's been a patchwork of other states that have been involved as well with CARB. But we operate in all 48 states, and basically we need the federal government to step forward and take control of our destiny.
Thank you. And you've also testified about how a lot of truckers are independent owner-operators who provide a vital part of our workforce and are a great example of the American dream, but how that model has come under siege both in California and nationally. Could you just talk through some of the ways that we might be able to push back on what's happening in order to preserve the independent contractor model?
Well, it's a very important model for our industry. It's been around for 90 years, and it allows people to own their own equipment. Basically what they do is they lease to companies, and basically that model is being challenged, that they're an employee and not a owner-operator, so to speak. So basically we need protection from a federal standpoint. We don't need, again, a patchwork of states that are telling us what needs to take place from that standpoint. And if you look at a lot of the companies that exist today, that's how they started. One truck begat 2, begat 10, so.
Thank you very much. We'll be working on both things, reining in CARB as well as protecting independent contractors. And then finally, Mr. Timon, I think the original witness from your association was from Georgia, and I was going to ask him about Waymo's expansion into Atlanta. But perhaps you could address the question sort of more generally in terms of how the likelihood that that autonomous vehicles will become more prevalent has affected your planning and the issues that we've discussed today.
You are right. Commissioner McMurray, who regrets that he is not able to be here because of the winter storm that the southern part of the United States is experiencing. I would say is that the state DOTs across the country are preparing for the growth of autonomous vehicles and connected vehicles within the transportation system as a whole. We're seeing more and more of that in certain urban areas with Waymo expanding operations in certain areas and other companies as well. But I would say just as importantly is just the inclusion of technology as a whole in what we do from a transportation network. It's not just autonomous vehicles or connected vehicles, but how we're incorporating technology into how we operate our nation's transportation system. Because rather than first looking at expanding capacity within our nation's highway infrastructure, state DOTs are looking at how to better operate the existing system using technology, and we're seeing more and more technology being incorporated into what state DOTs and localities are doing with their transportation network because it's a good use of the money and certainly is cheaper than, say, adding additional lanes. That might be a solution in certain areas, but we're certainly also looking at how we can better leverage technology to better utilize the existing capacity within our highway network.
Thanks. I think that's a very important point. I yield back.